and police join us in this fight and do not leave these streets until this battle is won. It's on. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're back up on the phone now.
Our next speaker is Janet Well from Code Pink.
It's great to be with you, sisters and brothers. I've got a few of my Code Pink sisters with me. Other of my Code Pink sisters and brothers were out in front of the White House a little earlier today, bringing the message right to the man's doorstep. I've got a little bit of info from the mainstream news. I'll start with a quote from Secretary of State Kerry. The indiscriminate slaughter of civilians, the killing of women and children and innocent bystanders is a moral obscenity. And Chelsea Manning says, I know, right? Yeah, that's right. Manning revealed the war crimes of over a decade of the U.S. government and military, and she is now serving a sentence of 35 years. Of course, we hope to get her out much before then, but formerly Bradley, now Chelsea, showed exemplary courage and was punished for it, for this very thing. But what is this war, or this strike, Syria, really about? Here's some info from the Hill newspaper. The stock price for U.S. defense firm Raytheon jumped close to its highest level Tuesday on Wall Street amid news of possible U.S. military action in Syria. Raytheon is the prime manufacturer of the long-range Tomahawk cruise missiles, among other weapons systems and components. The Tomahawk has long been a staple for U.S. Navy warships. There are now 5, count them, 5 U.S. warships in the Eastern Mediterranean. What do we think about that? It is a waste of our money. It is a waste of every conceivable resource. And people are getting really sick and tired of it. In Great Britain today, they were so sick and tired of it that the UK Parliament actually got itself together and voted no strike on Syria. They are not backing Obama up on this one. No more. And in conclusion, I just want to quote Michael Franti. We can bomb the world into pieces, but we can't bomb it into peace. Long ago, Code Pink published a book that said, stop the next war now. We will stop this war. We will stop this before it begins. Join me Saturday and every day. Do something every day. We can hit the front. Be the preemptive force in the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Cody. Again, waiting until 6. Close. Are you ready to march? I don't know about that. Still can't believe what's up. Being fired up. They have here us all the way to Syria. Are you fired up? Let's see. Money for jobs and education. Money for jobs and education. Money for jobs and education. Not for war and occupation. Next speaker is Moslem Majidi from the Party for Socialism and Nation. Please go for it. As many speakers have said, it's very important for us out here. We're building a movement. It's very important before the next aggression, before the next bombing, for us to be here right now and voice our protest. It's very important to realize and remember that the U.S. drive for regime change in Syria did not start yesterday, the day before. It's been going on for years, decades really. Some of us may recall, right after the invasion of Iraq in 2003, John Bolton said Iran, Syria, and North Korea should heed the lesson of Iraq. That lesson would be, you're next. And let's talk about why they want to overthrow the state in Syria. Why have they wanted to do it? I know all of us here and in the wider community, people have different analysis, different understandings of the state in Syria, of the conflict there. But one thing is certain, Washington's perspective, Washington's interest, really the interest of Wall Street, is that Syria is not a client state. Syria is not a new colony. Syria has some independence. Syria expresses support for the Palestinian movement. Syria's markets have not been open to the multinational corporations. Syria is not a Saudi Arabia, Jordan, or Qatar, or United Arab Emirates. For Washington, that's enough. And from day to day, they come up with the excuse for the day, or the public relations reason of the day. Some people may remember Rumsfeld at one point said that weapons of mass destruction in the case of Iraq happened to be the public relations reason we all agreed on. Well, in the case of Syria, for right now, they're coming up with chemical weapons use. And it's like the lie has been obvious even in the 3 or 4 days. First they said, we have evidence that it was the Syrian government that used chemical weapons. What that evidence is, no one knows, no one has seen. Then they called on the Syrian government to allow the UN inspectors to inspect. In less than 24 hours, the Syrian government said, yes, okay, the UN inspection team go and inspect. The US said, no, it's too late. They have destroyed the evidence. This is the same UN inspection team that's in Syria to investigate cases that happened weeks ago. And they didn't think that all the evidence would have been destroyed, but the US is saying, no, it's too late. It's not going to happen. They're trying everything to keep the public from thinking about who may have done this. Other speakers have already mentioned this. There are many other parties that may have done this. I mean, they talk about, it would have required a lot of technology. It could only have been the Syrian state. Well, it's not just the Syrian state that's an actor in the game. Look at Turkey. Turkey has been a supporter of the Syrian opposition for over 2 years. Many of the opposition fighters have gone in and out of Turkey. And in fact, there's been documented cases where the Turkish police has found sarin gas on some of the fighters that go there. How about the government of Turkey itself? Don't they have the capability of doing this? They've been trying to get the opposition to win their civil war? How about Israel, the Mossad? Don't they have the capability to carry out this kind of operation in the so-called liberated areas, the areas that are controlled by the rebels? How about Saudi Arabia and Qatar, those US-friendly so-called democracies in the region that have spent billions helping the opposition? All of those we're not supposed to think about. The US government knows, and let's take their word for it. It was the Syrian government, according to them. But we know the US government has lied. There was actually, the whole world knows about the weapons of mass destruction. I mean, that's not something that anyone doesn't know about. And they were saying it's a slam dunk case. In this case, even their own officials are saying it's not a slam dunk case. It's not a smoking gun. But let's go back to the original. Whatever the excuse of the day may be, whether it's democracy, fighting dictatorship, defending the national and religious minorities, chemical war, whatever the excuse of the day is, let's remember the US wants Syria, the US wants Iran, the US wanted Libya, and that's why they get engaged, they bomb countries, not because of the public relations excuse that they generate on a given basis based on what opportunities come up for them. They want to expand their empire. They want to get rid of all independent states. They want a Middle East, really a world, but in this case, in this particular case, a Middle East that's free of independent states. And that's why they're going after Syria, and that's why they are trying to do a bombing of Syria, and that's why their goal, the real goal, is regime change. We have to understand that, and we have to understand the expansion of the empire is a loss for us, the people in the US. So the Answer Coalition has been opposed and has been in the streets along with many other activists against the occupation of Afghanistan, Iraq, intervention everywhere. US hands off Syria, US hands off the Middle East. Thank you, Mazda. We just got a couple of speakers and then we're going to get ready for this march. Next speaker, Frankie Rivera from the I Don't Know More movement.
Hello, my name is Frankie. I'm Navajo. I was born and raised in San Francisco. Been an anti-war activist protester since the Desert Storm. The thing I want to do is first off come out with a quote by Tupac Shakur. He says we got money for wars but we can't feed the poor. Now really pay attention to that. You know the cost that it's going to have if we go to war? You know right now, in mid-October, the United States US dollar is going to collapse. They ain't telling nobody this. It's been in the Wall Street paper a couple days ago, and nobody seemed to be talking about it. If we attack Syria, China and Russia is going to defend them too. So we're in trouble. We're in big trouble. Right now, we have 400,000 foreign U.S. troops in the United States right now. Can you imagine what they're preparing for? From what I've been told is they're getting ready for a civil unrest. They're trying to develop a new world order. Syria, Iran, and North Korea are one of the countries that are not tied to the world banks. And that's what's going on. We need to pay attention and how the politicians are making the decision and how the politicians are actually making sure that the government and the military are not making these decisions against the people, because it's we the people that elect these officials. It's us that make the decisions. It ain't them, it ain't the globalists. It's us. So we all need to pay attention. We all need to share information with each other, because you know what? The future of our children, the future of animals is really at stake right now because of the Fukushima radiation. The alert is at level 3 right now, and we are in trouble in California because that stuff reaches the West Coast. I just pray for all the children, the innocents, and the animals in the water. What we are doing, all the missiles, the uranium that's coming from these metals and stuff, destroying the people. Look at Vietnam. Look what happened to Desert Storm. Look what happened to war. I mean, they're tripping on 355 people dying in Damascus. And we hit them with missiles. You know that is gonna add 3 more digits. We're talking the hundreds, thousands. There's people fleeing that country. There's people starving right now. And it's because we are insecure. We all want war. And look what happened. We developed nuclear weapons and we fucked ourselves. Walking beauty, Homo Takias.
For our last speaker, before we go on the march, we have Sarah Carlson with the Women Organized to Resist and Defend. Please welcome Sarah, who's closing off our rally.
Hi, so like Frank said, I'm with an organization called Women Organized to Resist and Defend. We are a women's organization looking for answers, right? We want to build a movement for women's rights, and someone actually asked me today when I told them that I was going to be speaking at this rally, what does Syria have to do with women's rights? And my answer was everything. All of the issues that we face have everything to do with women's rights.